Hey everyone, Mayor Mike here, and we are at another talking point. Today we have the new YMCA Director and CEO, Ryan Zietlow. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come to be and then come all the way back to Stevens Point?
Yeah, it's an exciting journey, and my wife and I are extremely excited for our family to be raised here in central Wisconsin. So, I'm a local individual. I graduated high school in Waupaca, had the opportunity to live just east of here, and was in Stevens Point area, growing up. Our family had 3 family dairy farms in the Iola, Scandinavia area, so, again, just down the road. After high school, I went to UWSP, so I'm an extremely proud Pointer. I think it's a great institution for us here, a great asset for the community. Graduated with a degree in physical education and started teaching. So spent a little bit of time in Milwaukee Public Schools, had the opportunity to teach down there, moved a little bit closer to family in the Green Bay area where I taught. And it was a few years after I was in Green Bay, I had the opportunity to work part-time for a YMCA. In that, I fell in love with the mission of the Y and what the organization brings to a community. And I took that leap and started working full-time for the Green Bay YMCA. So, I never knew if that path would bring me back here to central Wisconsin, but it did. So I spent 11 years in the Green Bay Y. Got to play a bunch of different roles amongst different facilities and different departments and areas in Green Bay. And took us for the last 5 years where we served the YMCA of the Northwoods in Rhinelander. My wife and I love the Rhinelander community, but we've always had a little bit of the Stevens Point itch to get back here to Stevens Point. So once this position opened up for the president and CEO of the Stevens Point Area Y, we jumped on the opportunity to throw our name in the hat. And so this little circle around the state has brought us right back here.
That's a really cool story. So you don't hear that very often where, you get to do your dream job somewhere and then it brings you back home. So
yeah.
Welcome back, I guess, is the best way to put it.
And you put that dream job, and that's really what this is. The Y is a phenomenal organization that connects with so many in our community. And I'm blessed to be able to lead the organization. And I'm proud to lead the Stevens Point Area Y. And we have family in town. So I get to take the 2 most important things for us. One in our family is the Y. We're deeply committed to it. And then, our family, my mom and dad live outside of town, my sister, my niece. So it brings the entire package right here to central Wisconsin.
It does, and the YMCA has a pretty long history. Most people think that the YMCA was started in the 70s by a group of people in the village. No,
yeah.
But the YMCA has been around a long time, and its mission really hasn't changed a whole lot over the years, but the concept has evolved. Why don't you give us a little bit of history as the YMCA pre-village people, and maybe how it's evolved through your eyes?
Yeah, and if you look at it, the Y does have an extremely long history that most people may not be aware of in communities like ours. The first YMCA actually started in 1844 in London, England. So a young man named George Williams saw a need of young men in London during the Industrial Revolution. It was a time where they were being influenced by things that they hadn't seen before. It was, peer pressure back in the day. And George and others around him saw a need to serve these young men. And therefore, in 1844 in London, the first YMCA was started and created. It jumped the Atlantic Ocean in 1851. A young man named Thomas Sullivan saw the same thing. He said there was a need in Boston to serve our young men, and the first YMCA in the United States was in 1851. When we look at it since that time frame, YMCAs are in about 800 communities or 800 areas throughout the United States, serving about 10,000 communities. So it is a national reaching impact in movement that we have. You talk about the village people in the 70s, but our own Stevens Point Area YMCA actually started before that.
Mm-hmm.
So in the late 60s, a group of individuals in Stevens Point came together with the same thought. We need to look at how we serve community and address community need. And they formed our very own Stevens Point Area YMCA.
And we're grateful for that. Me as a kid growing up, just down the road, I live on Franklin Street and had even growing up, that was kind of a place to go for me and my friends. We'd go there and use the pool, or we'd go play basketball, or use the ball diamonds out there. And that's really still a lot of what you do. Talk to me about some of the facilities and resources that you have. We'll get into programs later, but some of the things that you have at the Stevens Point YMCA that most people may not know about.
I think a lot of times people will look at the why and they think of a gym and a swim. It's probably a little bit of our own fault in the way that we message and the way we communicate what we do, but a lot of people attribute the why to the building, the brick and mortar behind it. But the true magic of a why has nothing to do with the brick and mortar. It's about the impact of mission and programming that we do and the connection and relationships we build. So when we look at it, we're a very unique organization that serves everything from birth to our late seniors. And unique because we serve well all those populations. So in looking at a why and looking at a facility, in our mission and our programming, we have a wide breadth. But when we look at it, the why is there for a simple purpose, and it's to connect with all ages of all walks of life. And we bring everyone together to strengthen the foundation of our community.
Wow. So I know you've got some indoor basketball courts.
We do.
You have indoor pickleball as well?
We do basketball, pickleball.
Okay.
Yep.
Basketball,
Yeah.
pickleball. You do volleyball in there, right?
Correct.
Do you have leagues?
We have some leagues, yes.
Okay.
So when you look at it, a very comprehensive facility. When you look at from a wellness perspective, we have wellness spaces. So we have cardio equipment and weight equipment where people can lead healthy lifestyles. We offer group exercise programming both on land and in the water. So we have that complementary piece behind what we do. The gymnasium is a big part of our facility and gets very multi-use. Everything from pickleball to basketball to volleyball to silver sneakers, senior classes, exercise classes that we run in there, or even rain days with our out-of-school time program with our youth. It gives them a space to go and gross motor development skills that we have there.
Wow.
And then you add on the pool, and we're blessed here in Stevens Point at our Y, not only one pool, but two pools. To can really maximize how we can serve community from an aquatic programming perspective. And then we have the outside. So we have our sports fields and the athletic opportunities that exist within our facility.
And let's not forget the steam room. That's one of my favorite parts.
The steam room. I've never really been much of a steam room fan, but the Ys that have been around over my career, Mike, they've never had a steam room.
Oh, yeah?
So in looking at that, I think I gotta, dive in one of these days and give it a shot and see what it's all about.
I gotta tell you, it's relaxing, right? You can go in there, it's quiet. Yes, you're sweating, but you feel really good afterwards. You don't have anything to do in there but think. So that's one of the reasons I like it. You've got a lot of great things at the Stevens Point YMCA. Let's talk a little bit about some of the programming that you do. Some of the, and let's start with the youngest and move on up to the oldest and talk about the programs you offer.
I think there's two when you look at it. From birth, we look to impact and support families in how we can. And there's really two different ways that immediately starts. We look at it from our drop-in childcare. So as a YMCA, we're looking to support families, lead healthier lifestyles, engage, sometimes keep sanity with moms and dads with young kids. So our drop-in childcare is a phenomenal resource. Parents can come in and their children have a space to go to where they're well cared for, have great high-quality, engaging team members that work in our drop-in childcare. So mom and dad can go and get a workout in themselves. They can get a swim in. They can take older siblings to classes if they want to from that piece of it. Or sometimes what you see is extremely common is mom or dad will drop them off in Adventure Alley and then they'll go sit and have a cup of coffee. It's a time to just relax and sit back, maybe reflect as they go on. And through COVID and some of the remote work, which has come more prevalent, what we're noticing is that a lot of parents will bring in their children to drop-in childcare and then sit in our lobby and do remote work. So they're still engaging in their workplace while their kids have a nice place to go and kind of get connected that way.
So you have drop-in childcare. You also have some educational programs that the kids get involved in? We
do. We have early learning care, which is typically called daycare. In there, so kind of your birth to 5 range, which is full day childcare that we offer, one of the leading and largest providers here in our area. We know that when you look at it, childcare continues to rise to the top of community conversations about the struggles that families have in finding childcare. And the Y sees our place as continuing to strengthen how we support families, the offerings that we have from a childcare, daycare perspective. In trying to alleviate some of that pressure that we see on working families.
As you get into more teens and adults, of course, the fitness center I know is heavily used. What sort of amenities do you have in the fitness center?
If you look at it, your treadmills and your ellipticals, I think you could go to any workout place in town and you can find those. What really, I believe, differentiates the Y is the small communities that we develop. When we look at it from our wellness center, the connections that are made, the wonderful thing about a YMCA is that we're a nonprofit organization. We don't turn anybody away for the inability to pay. We offer financial assistance, and we're only able to do that because the extreme generosity and support that our community shows of our Y. When you look at a Y, it's a melting pot of our community. We can go down there, and on an elliptical, you could see a CEO of an organization working out, and 2 ellipticals down, you may see somebody who was just laid off from a job or is in a life transition. So that melting pot creates opportunities for us to engage, as I said before, all walks of life come together within a YMCA.
If, going back to the fitness center and health things, do you have fitness trainers, personal trainers, health coaches? And talk a little bit about those if you do.
Yeah, we have all the above, and there's a couple different areas of health and wellness that we kind of capture. We have wellness coaches, which are in our wellness center, that can engage and set individuals up with basic programs to get them started on a wellness routine, support them on that continuum to make sure that they stay engaged and connect with them and answer any questions. Moves into personal training, which is more of your one-on-one, kind of a little bit more detailed as far as the outcomes that an individual is trying to accomplish, and nationally certified personal trainers. So they're knowledgeable and extremely good at engaging with people through that process. We have group exercise, which is group classes and led by instructors in various disciplines that target, whether it's Zumba and a dance type, whether it's body pump and more of a strength training type of environment. So we have those in the wellness kind of arena. Unique for us is some of our chronic disease or disease management and prevention programming. Our Live Strong at the Y program is a cancer survivor program that allows individuals who are going through a diagnosis of cancer or in remission the opportunity to come into a peer group and a peer network to work on their health and well-being. But alongside just the fitness side of it is the mental side of working through that process. So, I think programs like that are critically important for our community as we look at diabetes prevention, we look at blood pressure management. All of those are continuing to be important, especially in areas where demographics are changing and aging.
Oh, interesting. So let's move into the older people, people my age and up.
You're not that old, Mayor.
No, I'm not that old. But let's just say the older people who have some lower impact health needs, so exercise and training for them. But do you offer more social activities for seniors?
There's social gatherings that happen, regularly throughout the year. One of the greatest moments in my life has always been walking into a Y and seeing those groups of people that are connected. When we look at it, we have, morning groups that come together, and it's the socialization time frame. They go and do their workout classes, and they do that portion of it. But a lot of them share that the most important part of their time at the Y is when they're sitting around that table with a cup of coffee and supporting each other. And, so we offer partnerships with insurance-based memberships. So seniors, a lot of times based on their insurance, may receive a free membership to the Y through programs like Silver Sneakers. So they don't pay anything to belong to the Y. We work with a third party for that portion of it, and they can become a member of our Y family.
Wow.
And through that, they can take all of our classes and engage from that piece of it, but get that social piece, which as we age is critically important.
Yeah, and that's pretty amazing. I mean, you really cover the entire gamut, something for everyone, regardless of age. I know there's some organized youth sports that the YMCA facilitates. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
Two that we're extremely proud of are extremely organized in more teams. We have a gymnastics team, which comes together and not only through practice time, but competes in regional and statewide meets for gymnastics. And we do the same with our swim team. So we have a swim team that comes together in the same capacity and will travel for meets together. So those are our two competitive teams. When you look at a Y in youth development, one of the important parts is kind of that recreational foundational side of it. And the Y's proud to be a part of that engagement. And it really starts as early as parent-child. So parent-child recreation opportunities and engaging kids in movement and play, from maybe gymnastics or parent-child swim in some areas, and engaging them even when a child can't do it by themselves. But it engages the family unit at the same time as we're working with those children. And that moves up as they get into preschool and to get into school age, to where they can participate in programs like basketball or volleyball or lacrosse. We just started here in a partnership here in the community.
Yeah, great. And we talked about the pools. I like to say you have the play pool and then the work pool. So there's one you can just do laps in, but the other one's almost like a little mini water park, right?
Yeah. They call it the adventure pool, which I think, as you talk about, is a good way to describe that. So we're blessed with two bodies of water within the Y. One is the training pool, which is a lap swim pool that allows us to have more of that play side in the adventure pool. Our swim team will do their practices in the training pool as well, and still leave the other body of water, the adventure pool, open for swim lessons or for family playtime. So when we look at it, we are blessed. We have our training pool, more lap swimming in there, and then the adventure pool, more zero depth entry. It has a slide. So, Rainbow Falls is no longer in our community, so we need something. So a slide there, as well as kind of a mushroom that dumps water on kids to just give them that little bit of a water park experience here in Stevens Point.
And I don't remember what admission was back in the days of Rainbow Falls.
Yeah.
But you go down to the Dells now, to the water parks, and you're talking $40, $50.
Yeah. For one day.
What's a one-day pass at the YMCA?
Good question to put me on the spot, Mayor. When I'm newer here, I believe for a family for one day is $16, which
and that's the whole family.
And that's the whole family for the entire day. Really, when you look at it, the value of a family membership to the Y, you look at $70 for a course of a month, $2 a day approximately for a family to belong. You have everything from the gym to the wellness center to the classes for parents and kids to the pools, and all of that for that extremely good value. And along with our financial assistance, that we know that may be out of reach for some families, and that's where that generosity comes in from our community supporters to offer that financial assistance and scholarship to be a part of our Y family.
So let's talk a little bit more about that, because $70 a month for a family membership, using it anytime you want, and all the facilities that we talked about so far, is a pretty good deal. But it's still a monumental amount of money for single income families.
Correct.
That may be stretching their dollars already.
Yeah.
If someone wants to become a member, has their family that wants to be members of the YMCA, and they may not be able to afford it, but they're not sure.
Yeah.
How can they find out? Is there some place we can go online, or can they talk to someone in your office?
Yeah, you could head to our website and just kind of get some background information from that piece of it. I welcome anybody in our community to call me directly. 715-952-9300 is my direct office number. So anybody in our community I would love to talk to and get engaged with. Or just stop in at our Welcome Center. The team up there, Dawn is up there most of the time. Dawn's smiling face will walk and guide us through that process as we go through. And it's a pretty painless process. We try to remove as much friction as possible. Be aware of sometimes it's difficult to ask for help.
It certainly is.
And that most of the time is the biggest barrier. Maybe individuals don't want to share that they could use a little bit of help, but that's what the Y's founded on.
Yeah, and it's all confidential.
It is, correct.
Nobody's going to be spreading this information around town, and
No.
But it's a great resource, and I would encourage anybody who is challenged to I wish there were more things for the kids to do. The YMCA fills a big chunk of that gap, and I would encourage anyone who needs something like that to at least check it out.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't work out, maybe it's not a fit for you, but I can guarantee you that things have changed since I was a kid at the YMCA.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people kind of almost take it for granted now. They drive right by it on Division Street. They see the YMCA. Every once in a while, there's something that flashes across the marquee, or the Christmas tree sales that happen in the winter. They use your lot for that. But they don't really necessarily know what goes on inside.
Yeah. And that's that brick and mortar. People see the Y as the brick and mortar. It is the building on Division Street, and really it comes to life when you start to see the impact it can have on families, on kids, on families, on seniors. That's there. So I think that's where we're at now. I'm new to the community, and where I share, I'd love to hear from anybody in our community. I think that's an important part. I'm trying to listen in my tenure here. If individuals are interested in the Y, and maybe we're not serving the way their family could, be served, I would love to have the discussion about how can the Y get more involved.
Okay, great. And for those who may want to, maybe they're curious. They hear this broadcast and they're thinking, wow, I haven't been to the YMCA in a while. I'd like to hear and see these things that they're doing. Do you offer tours or orientation type sessions?
Yeah, certainly. Anybody can come in. We'll walk them around and talk and really engage with them and find out what are they looking for. How can we support their family? Is there a certain kind of journey they're on at this point in time in their life, whether it's a health and wellness journey, a social connected journey, kind of learn about what they're looking for and how the Y can serve a purpose for them.
Yeah, and I know you have the day passes available. I know that you're also a big proponent of supporting the community. So I've seen at events they just had at the Pink game. You had representatives from the YMCA there giving out a free day pass. Come and check us out.
Yeah.
So those options are available too.
Yeah.
You can go to the YMCA's website. You know that off the top of your head?
I do. spymca.org.
spymca.org.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me get into more philosophical things, right? You've been involved in the YMCA and helping people and educating your kids for a better part of your life.
Yeah.
Now that you've been here for a few weeks back in the community, what do you think the community most needs to know about the Stevens Point YMCA today?
First is, COVID was difficult on a lot of organizations. It took the wind out of the sails of a lot. And the Y is an organization that brings people together. So when you go through time frames where facilities are shut down and there's limitations, sometimes that makes it tough on an organization like ours. I give a lot of credit to the Stevens Point Y, even though I wasn't here, about how they stayed engaged in community during that time frame. Coming out of that, I believe our next phase here is to make sure we're understanding. Our community is different now than it was 2 years ago. And it's going to be important for us to reimagine our YMCA into the future about what can we do and how can we perform and how can we serve. In looking at that, we'll be launching a community needs assessment coming out soon that we're going to want as many voices from our community to get involved in. So we'll broadcast that we're looking for that help and that voice, social media channels, our website, via emails that we have. And any way that we can get that assessment out there will help educate us in understanding where are we moving forward. In looking at it, I believe the wise place in a community is to reduce burden on those around us. It's to strengthen community. So I don't have the answers exactly where we need to move yet. I do know that our communities across the country need to support youth more than we have ever done. When it comes to youth mental health, when it comes to youth engagement in different areas, those are places where the YMCA needs to step up as we move to the future. Those are going to be critical components for us moving forward. The Y has 3 areas of focus. Number 1 is youth development, to nurture the potential of every child and teen. So right now, I think that's got to be one of our critical focus areas, everything from early learning childhood to our out-of-school time programs, school-age programming that we do. That's going to be a significant focus for us moving forward.
Good, good. And let's ask one more philosophical question. You've got a blank check. And I know that most of your funding comes from memberships and other charitable contributions. Some of your programs are funded through the United Way, which is the big campaign going on now.
Yeah.
But if you had a blank check and you could do anything you wanted with the Stevens Point YMCA, what would you want to do?
I think our aging building, it's the old Pickleball High School. There's some retooling that we need to do internally from our facility standpoint, so that would have to be a part of what that looks like. When I would look at it, though, it would be the support mechanisms we put to really ensure that our priorities move forward. We look at workforce challenges and how do we support and retain high quality staff from those and invest in programs that we think are critically important. So if I had a blank check, it would be fix some of the issues in the building,
Okay.
make sure our house is in order from that piece of it, and then give the team the tools and resources, and for me as the CEO, to get out of their way so they can really do the impact that they're looking to do. And so I think those are the struggles with nonprofits we have right now is, how do we stretch our dollars and, challenging workforce environment. But we have great people that have great vision, and we need to, step up and give them the tools they need.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that's one of my philosophies too, is really a lot of my job is finding good people with great ideas and then get the heck out of their way.
Yeah.
Just clear a path for them, let them do their thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've got that same philosophy too, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, create vision, and then, just keep the team moving along.
That's right. So, last thoughts. I know you have events from time to time. Do you have anything on the horizon? Anything special for maybe Halloween or Thanksgiving or the holidays?
Yeah, we have a number of events coming up. We have a Fall Fest out at YMCA Camp Glacier Hollow, east of town here, so that one's coming up. We will have a trick-or-treating event out at YMCA Camp Glacier Hollow coming up, so that one is on the horizon as well. We're going to have an event called Pumpkin Splash at the Y in the pool. So pumpkins and water.
Is that like bobbing for pumpkins or what?
Kinda. So you bob for a pumpkin, you get it, you get to decorate it.
Okay.
So that'll be there. We have a tree lighting at YMCA Camp Glacier Hollow that's going to be coming up as well. So those are just some of the ones on the immediate horizon here. Also, ourselves and the Boys and Girls Club are charity partners for the Festival of Foods Turkey Trot.
Oh, nice.
So we're very excited for that event. It's going to be a great support for the BGC and for the Y coming up here in November.
Excellent. Well, there's a lot going on, and I imagine you can find out about all these events at spymca.org.
Correct.
You mentioned Glacier Hollow. Many people may not know where Glacier Hollow is. That's out at Sunset Lake near Amherst.
Yeah.
That's a camp that the YMCA has. Lots of cool facilities out there, too.
Yeah, we run a full day camp out there, so kids during the day, and then we run a full resident camp out there as well. So overnight camp right here in central Wisconsin. So it's very exciting.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much for coming in and for telling us a little bit more about what the new, modern, updated YMCA has to offer, how people can get involved. Again, that is going to be at spymca.org. And I got to tell you, young man, there's a place you can go if you're down on your dough. Yeah, now you're going to get that song stuck in your head.
I will get it stuck in my head. Yeah.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. If someone is interested in checking out the YMCA, stop by their office on Franklin Street, visit the Welcome Center, go to spymca.org and check it out. Get a day pass and see how the new facilities, and say hi to our friend Ryan when you get there.
Would love to see that.
So, again, thank you for joining me. And until next time, I'm Mayor Mike, and we've been Talking Point.
For more information about the Stevens Point Area YMCA, visit spymca.org or call 715-342-2980. Talking Point with Mayor Mike Wiza is produced by Stevens Point Community Media, stevenspoint.com/TV.